Hello, everybody. Welcome back after an absolutely awesome match one on stream today between Exodus and DC that saw Exodus win in overtime. We are back with the second match on stream. I will tell you that there are a lot of matches going on today. This is match day 4 of the HLL Summer Invitational. I actually have 7 games going on simultaneously. I cannot stream all of them, but I am bringing you right now action in just a couple of minutes between first seeded 20th Panzer Grenadiers and 8th seeded Never Play Alone and Bale Hay Boys, or BHB, NPA BHB. And I am joined in the booth yet again by Scurbs. Scurbs, thanks for joining.
Hello, hello.
Really excited to have you in. My name's Abenus. I'm the tournament host. I will be your primary caster today. And we are now moving to Checkpoint. So same map. We just saw DC and Exodus play on Hospice. We're now moving to Checkpoint on the same map. You will see NPA is going to be running in from the right. They will be in blue on stream. 20th will be running in from the left. They will be in orange. Quickly, Scurbs, we have just a couple of minutes before we start, a little over 90 seconds. Checkpoint is one of those strong points that is, I think, really balanced. I do think that 20th has chosen, I think, the slightly stronger side for this strong point. They picked Axis, which I do think is perhaps a little bit stronger than Allies. So, in this format, the higher seeded team now gets to select what strong point they want to play on in matches 1 and 3. So we're seeing this is all 20th choices. They chose all of this, the server, the side, all of it. So what are you looking for in this one as we get started?
So as you've said, this particular point is very open, and yeah, I also do believe it's one of the most balanced points to fight over on this format. And I think the two key things that come into this is your MG placement. There's a lot of fields of fire that you can take up, a lot of arcs, so that's really, really important. And also, considering that these two teams are arguably fairly well matched, the tactics is absolutely key here. How quickly can they react to things? Are they able to capitalize on the space that they've created for themselves? Because there really isn't very much in the way of cover on this particular map. So yeah, very open. We'll be interested to see how the MGs kind of hold down the fort here, and if there's any sneaky or interesting things that either side does to try to get an advantage.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I do know that these two teams, I was told, have scrimmed each other quite a lot in this format, so I think they know each other pretty well.
Oh.
So I think they are probably both feeling like they have some kind of intel that they might not otherwise have. I do have to say, 20th is our first seeded team in this tournament. They are last year's tournament champion. So I think I just have to give them the edge in this matchup on that alone. But I do agree that, of the North American teams in this tournament, this is going to be one of the most evenly matched matchups you'll find. This tournament has a lot of European teams in it. We haven't had a lot of explicitly NA matchups yet. I actually think this might be the first strict NA matchup we've had, and it took us 4 match days to get there. So this is kind of exciting for me as the American in the HLL scene to see 2 NA teams coming forward and playing it out. So we're seeing already NPA on your right going very heavy north side, lots of blueberries on that north side, and look at 20th. Going for the phalanx formation right into the center. So this is really, you're seeing 2 very different approaches. I should say there are 4 players from 20th on the very northern side that are heading for the building. We're going to talk about that building a lot in this one, and I think the reason why 20th took Axis was because they wanted access to that building. It does have viewpoints into the center of Checkpoint, but we're hearing MGs popping off in all directions. Here we go.
It looks like MPA right off the bat have basically just decided we're not going to contest the point straight away, almost as if they've kind of said that the Germans will always kind of capture it. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that, but they're seemingly concentrate more on the north here. Although it looks like they've been picked off quite a little bit, and we do have a really high concentration of the 20th now, taking the western side of the checkpoint. Although, again, seems like NPA are winning the cap somehow. So interesting kind of first maneuvers here from both teams. Hopefully this match ends up like the previous one. Hopefully it's an absolute corker, because I've only just had my cold shower in the last one.
Absolutely. And I have to say, we're gonna look at this fight in the middle here in a second, but I actually think there's a far more interesting fight happening on the very northern side of the strong point, where you have two squads fighting it out right here, and there is an MG from NPA that has gotten behind, but he didn't find the outpost, and maybe now he's running for it. And he gets it. So the OP for 20th goes down on the north side. So this BHB squad is able to secure an outpost. But Diggity Dan, the squad leader for 20th, is still up. And I think he's going to be able to reset. But really like the fight happening on this very northern side. A little bit of a satellite fight. Diggity Dan looks like he's resetting the outpost now. But you have another wave of NPA coming in to fight over this building. I'm going to pivot back to the strong point.
It's interesting because NPA actually lost the initial fight on the northern side. 20th managed to win that, but the only saving grace to that was the fact that the OP on the northern side for the 20th got taken out. And now it's given a chance for the NPA to come swarming from the east on the northern side. They've pretty much completely lost the actual cap point now. It does look like they are really trying to focus on the north. So we'll see once they get this, because it's pretty much a 6v1 at the moment. Diggity Dan just hiding behind this wall, supposedly waiting, I presume, for the rest of his squad to spawn back in. But once NPA get that northern side, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I mean, props to NPA, realizing that I think maybe they knew that 20th was going to go for the kind of phalanx into the point the way they did. I mean, 20th came in with pretty much their whole team.
Steamrolled in.
Yeah, right in. So NPA, I think, maybe picking up the threat a little bit. And you are seeing now, top left of your screen, a full squad of 20th now having to run in from the garrison. So NPA loses the strong point, but they do get that northern building. And to be honest, like part of... Oh, great rocket comes into that house on stream there. You know, I think part of the reason why 20th selected this side on checkpoint was because they wanted that building, and now NPA has got it. So, like, you know... 20th still in good position, like have very strong control of strong point, but like really have nothing going for them on the north side at all. So it, you know, now it's just going to come down to, can NPA do something with that northern building? Can they start to fire into the strong point? We are seeing elements of NPA trying to work that little gully that leads to the southern side of checkpoint, but 20th snuffing that out. So right now, I would say advantage strong point 20th, advantage north side heavily NPA.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what their aim is here. I mean, there is a window in this building that Osama bin Lag and Madcap are in, which does face out southerly. So, you know, if you stick an MG in there, you actually do have a good sight on the point. But unfortunately, 20th managed to throw an AT in there, and that MG is out of the picture for now. Just very curious to see what they're going to do here. If they're going to try use the northern side, maybe to push back the spawns from the northern garrison that the 20th have on the west, but I'm struggling to see where they're going to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think NPA is in a very good position to recapture the zone if they can utilize these positions, but don't really know how. Like, NPA's whole plan is going to rely on that building on the north side. If NPA loses that building, and as we see, 20th captures the zone, as they should, they've got a lot of guys there. NPA now is going to have to reset OPs, so we'll see if they timed that properly. But as long as NPA can hold on to those northern buildings, they're never out of this game. You know what I mean? Like, they are never out of it if that northern building stays in their control. 20th will never be able to get a box out. And it's really kind of a compound. It is quite hard to actually, like, get there if... You know what I mean? Like, there's not really a good way in.
Yeah.
So, I think, curious to see. Go ahead.
I think what they might be doing, though, is perhaps saying to the 20th, look, we've got the northern flank here, we have this compound, we've got this building. Perhaps they're trying to coax them in a little bit, bait them out, try reduce the composition of nearly their entire force, I would say. Although there are a lot of really good picks coming in now from the NPA onto the 20th. 20th are now left with 3 people in the center point. I don't know what just happened there. Their control of the center point is dwindling now. But I must point out, and I'm sure you spotted it yourself, that there is 3 infantrymen from the 20th traversing the southern side along this wheat field here, so they could actually get around the side of NPA now. Yeah,
and I'd be curious to know, are NPA's outposts set up like just behind the strong point here? Is that where they are?
There are 2 outposts behind the strong point and 1 to the north.
Right. So, okay, I will make a comment here. all it takes is one player from NPA to find a way around to knock out those outposts, and all of a sudden NPA is in a stellar position for this match, right? So we saw it last game. We saw General Octo from Exodus really buy his team some time by going around. And now, like, NPA actually getting some decent control around the strong point. They've got decent numbers. It's not amazing, but it's good enough. But until 20th deals with that northern building, they're in trouble. They are just going to get pinned down from like ever crossing any kind of open space. That building has got excellent visibility. Really interested to see if 20th tries to maybe go for a concentrated push into the building, or if they're just going to let NPA just kind of exist there and just say, you know what, we've got the circle, it's fine.
I think it's really interesting, actually. I think you're really spot on there. What is important here is to note that if NPA do capture the point, they're in a really good position. They've got the northern area. They've got essentially the main choke point in the north, the main point of activity, which is that house. And if they manage to take the center point, then they're in a really good position to hold back the 20th. And I think that what they're probably doing is relying on their two squads that are trying to charge the point at the moment to win that engagement, capture the point, and they've got really good set of circumstances there.
Excellent rocket comes in on the strong point from NPA. I mean, now look at the concentration.
Yeah.
NPA now really starting to win those gunfights, getting to the building. So, you know, 20th now in a little bit of trouble, I think. I mean, they are seeing capture progress come in from this NPA team. It's still early, but they are getting progress. And 20th kind of stuck almost. They can't really move. As I say that, there are two players that got to the compound, but look, I mean, there's still 6 players from NPA there, and they're basically just sitting there. I mean, NPA seems very content with having this outnumbered fight happening on the strong point because they're able to suppress down so well from the buildings on the north side.
This is really clever. This is really, really clever because I think what I said just earlier about this northern flank is especially true in the sense that what it's making the 20th do is funnel very specifically into this kind of set of alleys and gullies just west of the point, which means that the NPA basically know where they're coming from. If they continue to hold that northern flank, they are essentially saying to the 20th, you've got very restricted routes into the point now. We're going to take advantage of that. We're going to rely on the guys that we do have attacking the point to win that engagement because we think that we can do that, and they're essentially putting a bit of risk on that. It's worth noting again that there were 1 or 2 players to the south, and as soon as I say that, they've actually been taken out as well. So 20th are just funneling in now. They're just trying to maintain some kind of cap on the point, some kind of control.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the entire 20th team now pretty much in the circle. I mean, that is really interesting. Like, clearly 20th feeling the pressure. And I don't know if they can really deal with that building now. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's really anything 20th can do about that building. And so I think, they were contesting it for a little bit. There was a squad up there, and it looks like somebody made the call on the 20th side to be like, look, that's not happening. We need to go back to the strong point. We still have good control with these 2 squads. They move the third down the hedgerow. And it's just like, now 20th is starting to get back into the strong point, but look at NPA on the north side, right? Now NPA is starting to be like, well, we're not getting any pressure. Oh, a great rocket comes in right by the outpost. Really nice rockets from both teams here. But now look at this medic. This medic from NPA has come all the way around. We're going to go look at this real quick.
Roncon is going to sneak up on Chan Cho here. And he does. He takes
with the pistol. With the pistol. Roncon comes in with the pistol, but he doesn't. But did he not see the outpost? How did he not see that? He crossed over to the other side of the hedge. The outpost was right in front of him. Oh my goodness.
Roncon over here flexing with the pistol, but not finishing the job with the OP, which, in the new update does literally flash kind of the silver sheen. So it's quite difficult to miss when it is presented right in front of you. It's worth noting, though, that NPA do kind of have this route in from the north now. They've the control of the point has gone back to the 20th.
But look, NPA has really lost everything they had on the east side. It looks like, I'm sorry, I missed it. It looks like a couple of players from 20th. See, this is what happens, right? You zoom in on something interesting, and then you start missing things. Gatorin from 20th comes in, cleans one, gets an OP, But, oh, he hits Dyslexic, the squad leader. He got hit but did not kill him. So Dyslexic's still up. He's going to be able to replace the OP. But now it's kind of chaos. We have an assault player from the NPA inside of, or let's say BHB, inside of this circle, inside of the opposite building. So you have players like all over the place for both teams now. You have NPA pushed out. You have NPA. This is really interesting.
Sorry to interrupt, but Infidel here on the building on the west side, the NPA is just holding out for dear life, and he gets grenaded.
He gets grenaded.
Yeah, he took 3 or 4 people out there. It was just being really annoying to the 20th, but that's them gone now. So it's going to be a bit of a reset.
Yeah, but I will say the Rockets, you know, like the MG cover has been excellent from that northern building, but the Rockets have almost been better. They are
trading across the map here. Wow.
Yeah, and I have to come. I'm going to zoom back in over here. We have a rifleman from NPA. This is Freak Fighter. Oh, but Katorin finds him. Oh, really nice job from Katorin there. So Freak Fighter goes down. He probably sees the outpost, but can't eliminate it. Really, the line was very defined there for quite a while, and then like in a split second the entire line for both teams just fell apart, and there were players kind of all over the place on each team. We are now seeing 20th is kind of reestablishing control in around the strong point. We are just about to hit the halfway mark. We're about 14 minutes deep into this match.
Just to interrupt you there, Abinus, we do have a solo 20th player, Sono Fair, hugging the wheat field on the southern sides, and he's pretty much just taken down half of this team coming in from the NPA here. He's just chilling in the wheat field, and I'm sure if anyone plays Pub Hell Let Loose knows how annoying these fields are, and he's actually managed to kind of stop them coming in. Meanwhile, 20th are maintaining absolute control of the point. Another rocket goes in there into the point from the western side, and yeah, it looks like this is really coming back the way to the 20th here. It doesn't look like the northern control that the NPA have is really doing very much for them at this current moment in time.
I'm watching this on stream right now. I'm watching that interaction you made note of in that southern wheat field, and they do get him. NPA basically has an entire squad converge down on Sonofair. He does go down, but he does slow down NPA a lot on that advance. But look, I mean, NPA still has the northern building. 20th has really done nothing. They're kind of just like, look, you've got the building. You're not at the circle. It almost looks like 20th is just ignoring them. Like, they don't even care. They're like, yeah, you got the building, whatever. You know, like,
I mean, time after time, they are throwing smokes in between checkpoint on that northern building just to try put off any kind of ATs and MG fire into the point. So, yeah, you're right. It just looks like they don't really care. They're like, you know what? Yeah, take it. You can have it. We'll take the point. You know, if you're happy there in the north, then please stay, is essentially what the 20th is saying to MPA right now.
But at some point, they will have to deal with it. Like, if they want to do a box out, I think 20th will have to eliminate this squad on the north side. Obviously, NPA is talking, as I see, I think a squad leader goes down on the 20th side. He nearly takes down a full NPA squad
really
there.
Close there.
Yeah, really close. But, like, you know, 20th has full control of the center, right? 20th has pretty much got their entire team east to west in the middle of this strong point. And you have a full squad of NPA now on the south side, and you have a full squad of NPA on the north side. So, you know, the problem that 20th might start running into is they're now going to have to look not in one direction, but in 3 directions, which gets tricky. And so I feel like eventually 20th has got to do something about the northern building. I don't think they can just leave them there. It's pretty close to the strong point. They can do a lot from it. But, you know, with 14 minutes to go, I mean, that's plenty of time still for things to happen. Really, I'm genuinely curious to see how this match ends, because I feel like NPA, if they can do like a 3-pronged assault from all 3 sides, they are going to take the strong point if they can do it well. But I don't think they're, you know, 20th is doing a great job keeping them on their heels. NPA not able to get set really for an assault, it seems like.
Yeah, and it looks like the 20th are progressing quite far east here. There's at least 4, well, now 3 members of a full squad who have basically just taken out a full OP there. And numerous members of the NPAs, they're going to have to hard reset again from kind of the central area. And they're going to be licking their lips a little bit just for a wee bit here because, you know, NPA currently only have, I was going to say, a squad in the south, but half of that squad has just been eliminated. And we still have this squad in the north. They're not really making any progress.
This has been a fascinating match. a very different match from the one that we just saw between Exodus and DC. I think the Exodus DC match was very, it was one-sided until it wasn't. But I was talking about eventually 20th is going to have to do something, and they do. 20th does something. There's just an automatic rifleman on each side with a rifleman on the periphery. Oh boy.
Wow.
I think the outpost goes down for, all OPs for NPA now are down.
Reset.
That's a hard reset for NPA. So props to 20th. They find a way. It looks like they came around from the other side, from the eastern side, and they actually neutralize. That was really strong.
If you're ever going to take a screenshot of the map at this current time, or compared to any of the games, if you took a screenshot right now, you would probably say that actually 20th have pretty much got this in the bag. So it'll be really interesting to see how NPA reacts. As we said, the only person who is in the midst of it at the moment is this single player in the northern side. Everyone else is going to have to come back from garrisons. And looking from my point of view on the Germans have already spotted the push by NPA. They put down multiple infantry tags. They know they're coming. It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, I have to give a lot of credit to 20th. Like, they kind of had a setback at the beginning, right? Like, they did what they wanted to do. They got the strong point. They were great there. I think plan executed. But they did not get the north side at all. They lost the north side rather convincingly. So they had to come back and deal with it. But now 20th does have control. There's one player from NPA still in that house. I think 20th senses it. But now you're seeing just waves and waves of NPA players coming right up the middle to the circle. NPA now has completely lost that north side. But I'm going to zoom in for a sec. There is an automatic rifleman from NPA that has gotten through. Oh, someone's going to see him, right? Blind nut goes down. Yeah, someone's going to see him. He was the only player that had crossed that road in some time from NPA. So I was curious to see if he could get around. But now, I mean, there's smoke everywhere. NPA
everywhere. Wow.
NPA has got to just. Now, I will say 20th kind of weak in the center all of a sudden. They were super strong in the center just about 60 seconds ago. Now they've really kind of lost the center in terms of their strength. They're moving around to different parts of the map, right? So 20th brought a whole squad to the north sides of that building. They now have control of it, but now look where NPA is. NPA is now pushed down the main road, and they're right next to the strong point. And there's not that many players from 20th there. There's a decent number, but there's not that many.
That eastern side currently looks, and I have no better way of describing this, like a vapor's paradise. The amount of smokes that NPA put down there, they're trying to force the way through. This, as I described in the previous match, seems like a bit of a Hail Mary moment for NPA. Really just a case of getting numbers in that point, trying to avoid getting picked off, maybe trying to get some trades. And they have regained a lot of bit of control in terms of the actual core area in the checkpoint. I Shit Myself and Gator Rocket, brilliant names, are both kind of in key positions here, about to get surrounded though. Gator Rocket gets taken down. So, the majority of the NPA are really just trying to force their way in at this point. And in the next maybe 30 seconds, they might actually have an opportunity to get in because there aren't that many 20th available in the checkpoint.
Yeah, it's NPA now in prime position to maybe retake the strong point. Really found an opening. Smoke all over the place. Players from 20th trying to maybe slow down this advance. But I think NPA, we're seeing some trading go on. Both teams getting a lot of kills here.
The contest just started, but it's now been taken back by 20th.
Yeah, and props to 20th. Their OP placement has been super strong. That NPA has not been able to access those backside outposts. So that's such a strength for your team if you know that your spawn point is secure. Right? Like, if you don't have to worry about spawning, that really simplifies your job as a run and gun player, because then like, okay, I can move away from my OP, I can get into the position I want to get into. NPA has had the discomfort really this entire game of having to kind of defend their outposts while they advance. 20th has been kind of prodding them in a lot of different locations. As I say that, somehow an NPA player found his way back into the northern building. This is Roncon, who's now switched roles.
How the hell did he get there?
And he's dropped two players. I'm going to zoom in on this quick. Two players from 20th go down inside the building. Roncon is alone here. And you know what? This is actually really important that Roncon is doing this. And I'm going to zoom in on this because he is buying his team a numbers advantage. 20th is committing 6 guys to deal with Roncon, and he's alone, right? So that means that somewhere else on the map, NPA has a significant advantage. and a grenade.
Oh.
I think Roncon almost like just committed a kamikaze attack on the, like he kind of held the grenade to the last second.
Yeah.
But like little
Props.
plays like that, you're probably wondering like, why am I zooming in on that? It's just like a little gunfight in a building. But look at what it's done. NPA now is getting a little bit closer on the main road, and they're tying up an entire squad of 20th inside of the building. So, I think NPA is doing really well. I think they're getting creative on the offense. They don't have a ton of time here. They're down to around 7 minutes to kind of get something together. We are seeing an automatic rifleman from NPA has crossed behind. This is Blind Nut. We saw him a few minutes ago do the same thing. We're going to see he's about to run into Wendy's 4-for-4.
There's no spot in
No. They almost ran right past one another.
I'm sorry. That was
they
that was
nearly ran
ridiculous.
right past each other. Wendy's 4-for-4, great name. Finds him before he's able to get to that safe haven of the 20th outpost. Imagine that Blind Nut gets through there and eliminates the OPs, right? I mean, that really changes this game.
Do you know what that was? I laugh, but that was really, really unlucky timing for Blind Nut there. As soon as he turned round, Wendy walked past, and I think Wendy would have caught him in his periphery and reacted quicker. Just incredibly unlucky timing there, because he pretty much had the drop on him, and now that advantage of having a player kind of behind enemy lines is gone.
Yeah, this has been a fun match. It's not the same match that we just saw, right? I think the fun of the match between Exodus and DC was that it looked so lost until it wasn't, right?
Yeah,
whereas
panic mode.
DC, I think kind of bungled it at the end. Whereas 20th has secured it, and they've looked strong, but they have not looked overwhelming. You know what I mean? They've looked good. They certainly are getting the job done. They are in a commanding position, but they're certainly not, forcing NPA out into the seams yet. NPA is still doing a nice job, and a great rocket comes in and deals with the player from 20th inside of the northern building. So, not a lot of time on the board now, a little over 5 minutes. NPA is going to have to go for it. They don't really have an option here. They're going to just have to send it. And
there is really not much on for them here. So, yeah, absolutely. And what I find really interesting about this is the point. Oh, wow, really good rocket there from the southern flank of NPA. This point has been pulsating back and forth, but it's been pulsating constantly back in favor of the 20th. So the NPA have managed to get control of those buildings on the right-hand side of checkpoint on numerous occasions, but every single time the 20th have managed to come back and retake. So credit to them. They've managed to, on multiple occasions, as I said, get control back when, in other circumstances, other teams may have actually capitalized on that.
And now we're seeing just an absolute chaos gunfight in the smoke here, where players are just running past one another in the smoke, not seeing one another. Wendy's 4-for-4 coming in with Black Bones onto Blind Nut. I've been seeing a lot of Blind Nut. They run back into each other on the other side of the map. I always love those interactions. So now you have elements of 20th that have broken all the way through, but then you have elements of NPA that have broken all the way through on the other side. So the smoke really allowing both teams to transverse the point. 20th has really strong control of the south side. Really not a lot happening for NPA on the south side. I think NPA has got one more push in them to really put it together, but I think right now 20th in the driver's seat of this match.
Yeah, I mean, just pure confusion coming from, again, as a reference, the Vapor's Paradise that NPA keeps seeming to spawn on the east side of the point here. Literally every single member on their team is just smoking the area out. And although it's causing a bit of confusion for the 20th, it's causing as much confusion for the for NPA as well. They're literally walking past each other and almost getting held up in terms of trying to get the point. There was a brief second there where everyone on the east side of the point for the 20th was taken. But, as I've said, they've just flooded back in and are now going to maintain control of that. We do have one lone gunman, Roncon again, just holding this northern barn in the point. We'll see how long he lasts.
I think that barring a massive last-second push here from NPA, I think 20th is in an extremely commanding position to take match one. You have an MG in the northern building now that's absolutely peppering the NPA team. There's not much counter to that. They've tried to rocket it a few times. But NPA now really having to just utilize the micro-terrain I will say that this player from NPA, as you pointed out, he's still up. Ron,
Still there.
you know, I have to say, Ron Khan has been the player to watch all game, and he finally goes down. Sylvictus gets him. Ron Khan has been really the player to watch all game for NPA, and now you're seeing kind of the last ditch push here from NPA on the eastern side, just trying to run right through the middle, smoke everywhere. You know, properly utilizing smoke. Really just going to try and get a contest here with 2 minutes on the clock.
So fair play to Roncon as well. They were literally throwing the park bench at him. At one point, he was surrounded with 4 people. They were throwing ATs in his direction, not caring about friendly fire at one point. And, you know, he still managed to make a bit of a dent in that northern flank. But there are just too many 20th here, and they're pushing out from the east to try and maintain some control. It's interesting because every time they throw these smokes, the NPA, the 20th are forcing their way into those smokes. They're almost using it as an invitation to try cause some confusion. They're not waiting for the NPA to traverse their way east to west through the smokes and onto point. They're saying, we'll join you in this vaping convention that you're starting here and we'll cause a bit of havoc. And it's really seeming to kind of stick them back. Although there is a number of NPA now in and amongst the smokes in this kind of water gully that we see here. Maybe there's an opportunity for them here to get in. It doesn't look like any of them are being picked off at incredible rates.
Yeah, there's a squad leader from 20th. I want to see who this is, who's just sitting in the middle of Hasselmayhoff, just crawling his way right next to Dupree and Madcap. I think he's looking for the NPA outpost. I think he's trying to get eyes on it. So props to Hasselhoff. He's just trying to stay there, kind of keep some eyes, a little bit of a check. Just over a minute. Now, NPA has a decent chance here in this final few seconds to maybe get something towards the zone. I will say the outposts from 20th have been absolutely perfect this entire game. 20th have not taken chances with their OPs, which I respect, realizing that NPA was definitely kind of matching them in large sections of this. But it looks like, barring a crazy last-second push, which I should say we did just watch, is going to be a win for 20th. But I have to give credit to NPA. I mean, really had a very strong opening, did a great job on the north side. But, 20th just had the concentration when they needed it, where they needed it. And then I think that's why 20th is your first seeded team in this tournament.
Yeah, they were able to back it up, constantly reinforcing the areas that were losing men. And I've just been watching Hasselhoff here, the squad leader, who is effectively channeling his inner frog right now. Multiple men from the NPA have just keep walking past him, and he's been just whipping his pistol out, hiding in this bush that he has been, and just causing absolute havoc. And they're probably still wondering, where the hell is this guy? So fair play to Hasselhoff. He's essentially covered one of the only real routes in from the east side. I mean, there's the road that's that goes east to west into point. There's this river area, and the rest of it's just open fields. And yeah, that's game.
That is game. That was a great game. It was definitely advantage 20th, I think, for the entirety of the game. There were a couple moments there at the start where I thought NPA had like some flashes of brilliance. But 20th, I think, kind of showing why they are the 1 seed in this tournament. Very strong performance. I don't think 20th ever looked panicked, right? They got in a bit of a tricky spot. They were kind of getting funneled into the strong point, but they found a way to win their gun battles. They kept their OPs in good positions, then they battled through it, and they won, and that's what a good team does. So props to 20th. They go up 1-0 in this series, in this best of 3 in the quarterfinals. We are now going to step away for just a few minutes, and we're going to be bringing you, Scurbs, I have word that we are getting game 3, or match 3 between 1CDO and EW coming up in just a few minutes. Gosh. So we will be cutting away for just a little bit, and we will be back with more action of the Hell Let Loose Summer Invitational 2021. Don't go away.